Trigonometry, Chapter 1, Trigonometric Functions, Section 3, Trigonometric Functions, Video 3, finally, the 6 trigonometric functions. This series is based on content from Pearson's Trigonometry 12th edition by Lial, Hornsby, Schneider, and Daniels. This video will introduce us to the 6 trigonometric functions. All 6 of these functions will permeate the remainder of the course. For students continuing to pre-calculus or calculus, you will see all 6 of these functions repeatedly, some more than others, but they will all make appearances on a regular basis. In other words, it's critical to learn these functions early and expect to see them often. Yes, you need to have their definitions memorized. But first, recall from algebra that a function is just a rule that takes in one value and returns another. Function notation indicates how this change takes place. For example, suppose f of x equals x squared plus 2x minus 3, and I ask you to find f of 5. This is a pretty straightforward algebra question. You're simply substituting each x with 5, working it out, and getting 32. So just a reminder of function notation. The 6 trig functions are functions. They take a number in and give you a value back. Now, each of the 6 trig functions takes in an angle and returns a new value. The value returned is always a ratio of 2 numbers. For now, the 6 trigonometric functions are called sine, cosine, tangent, cotangent, secant, and cosecant. When the time is right, we'll discuss why 3 of these we will discuss why 3 of these are co-functions of the other 3. For example, cosine is the co-function of sine. Spoiler alert, the co stands for complementary angles. All 6 trigonometric functions have 3-letter abbreviations. Sine is abbreviated SIN, cosine is abbreviated COS, tangent is abbreviated TAN, cotangent is abbreviated COT, secant is abbreviated SEC, and then the last one, cosecant, is abbreviated CSC. You may have noticed that the abbreviation for cosecant is the only one that isn't the first 3 letters of the function. Otherwise, it would have the same abbreviation as cosine. So what are these things? Well, they take in an angle, so we're going to start with an angle theta in standard position and let xy be any point on the terminal side that is not the origin. Remember, standard position means vertex at the origin, initial side on the positive x-axis. Now, if we have a point that's not on the origin, we can let r equal the distance from it. Well, if it were the origin, then the distance would be 0. And if we use the distance formula with the origin and the point x comma y, we get that r is the square root of x squared plus y squared. Now, because r is an undirected distance, it's measuring how long something is, it's never negative. So r is always greater than or equal to 0. This needs to be memorized. R is the square root of x squared plus y squared. Now, here are the 6 trigonometric functions. We're only going to go over the definitions. We'll do examples in the next video. Let's start with sine of theta. Now notice I didn't put parentheses around the theta. That's fairly common unless the argument of the trig function, which in this case is theta, is more than a single expression. Single term, I should say. But given this setup, the sine of theta is defined to be y over r. This will need to be memorized. There are 6 of them. Cosine of theta is defined to be x over r. Now, some of you might be thinking, this isn't what I learned. I learned SOHCAHTOA, whatever that is. Don't worry, it's all connected. Tangent of theta is the ratio of y over x. Again, these are definitions. Cosecant of theta is the ratio of r over y. And you may note that this is the reciprocal of sine, meaning instead of y over r, it's r over y. There's sine, y over r. There's cosecant, r over y. Secant of theta is defined to be r over x. And again, you may notice that this is the reciprocal of cosine. Secant is r over x. Cosine is x over r. They are reciprocals. And then the 6th and final one, cotangent of theta, is defined to be x over y. And again, this is the reciprocal of tangent. Cotangent of theta is x over y. Tangent of theta is y over x. This is all 6 of them. These need to be memorized. These need to be memorized. I can't stress enough that these need to be memorized. Now, there's a trick to memorize them. I'll show you what it is. The trick is to memorize the top 3. Because if you memorize the top 3, which some people call the big 3, sine, cosine, and tangent, and then you can remember who is the reciprocal of whom, then you've got the other 3. So memorize 3 and who their reciprocals are, and then you should have them all. I don't believe there's any problems on this. Nope. In the next video, we will look at some examples of calculating these trig functions when given a point on the terminal side. Again, these need to be memorized. I cannot stress that enough.